Delivering a full ad campaign can make or break a product launch, but the time, teams, and effort to do that can be daunting. But what if you were able to go from a single product image to full ad campaign in a matter of minutes? Welcome to One Amazing Thing About The Brief. Today we're talking with Thibault Imbert, Chief Product Officer at The Brief, and he's going to be sharing one amazing thing about their ad studio with us today. Thibault, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Well, one amazing thing already is that you invited me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, look, I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I always love. I got a front row seat to these things, so love seeing it.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, why don't you give a little background on you and your role at the Brief?
Yeah, for sure. My name's Thibault, and I'm Chief Product and Growth Officer at The Brief. You might have heard of the company in the past known as Creatopy. We recently kind of rebranded to The Brief. And yeah, I joined the company around 6 months ago. Before that, I was at PixArt, also a application focused on design. And before that, I was at GitHub. And then before that, at Adobe for 10 plus years. So I've been basically oscillating my entire career between code. I'm a developer initially that turned into a designer, and when I wanted to, make things look good with my code, and so I've been kind of like doing both code and design. And it's kind of interesting right now with AI because when you get into the details, there's a lot of really cool technology. So it's really fun to be in the middle of code and design.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Love it. Well, before we take a look at what you're going to show us today, why don't you talk a little bit about, you know, why did you choose this feature to showcase? Who's the
Yeah.
audience, and why is it important to them?
Yeah, I mean it's a feature that as part of the breed called mood boards. It's a brand new feature we've been working on, and we launched a few months ago. Actually, a few weeks ago, back in October, when we launched the Brief as a new platform, as a agentic AI platform for marketers. And why you'll see. I mean, I think when you guys see the demo, you'll see the kind of the magic of the feature. Why? Because it is a canvas that allows you to do everything you need to do without leaving that kind of like environment. And the life of marketers, when I think of marketers as designers working in marketing, you have to go through so many tools, so many different tools, whether it is the tools to look at ads online for your competitors, spreadsheets and Figma and Miro and Photoshop and so on. And so we were like, hey, what if you could actually do it all in one place? And so frankly, that's just less tools, less fragmentation, and more time just to get things done, and less time just like switching tabs.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Why don't you share your screen and let's take a look.
This is the interface of the mood board. Here, what I'm going to do is instead of creating everything from scratch, so that also your audience has a visual kind of like walkthrough. I created this entire mood board with kind of like a walkthrough, and then we'll create things along the way. But because sometimes with AI, things can take a few seconds or even sometimes a minute when it's high resolution, we'll have support to go through the whole campaign. So this is an interface that's multiplayer, that's mood board, so you can actually share it with your colleagues. And when you're in this canvas, you can basically, it's an infinite canvas. Like you probably seen that in other tools like Figma and
Yeah,
others that kind of like, pioneered that back then. And what we thought were like, can we create an infinite canvas for marketers where they can create a full campaign in literally like, minutes or seconds
right.
from there. So you can share it with your team. You can add text. You can add sticky notes. You can add media. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to create ads for a clothing brand. So let's imagine, and we're going to use AI across this entire demo. And in this canvas at the bottom, maybe you've seen there's a what do you want to generate? If you open that, you have the AI media assistant. And this allows you to select elements on the canvas and do anything with that with AI model. So we integrate the latest frontier models, whether it is Nano Banana from Google or Flux Context. We also let people generate video with VO31, Sora 2, and we're working on integrating new models. So one of the benefits you have is that you have this infinite canvas. You can use these models from there. But there's also a lot of special sauce that we've built on top that I'm going to show you to make it super simple. So let's say you have these clothes here and you want to create ads for a campaign. So the first thing that you can do, you can just obviously select that element. And then if I, take this prompt here and I select this and I'm going to go to image, I'm just going to create one variation. You could select different resolution and you can decide to have multiple variations. And I'm going to, generate that. Then, the image starts generating. And what you're going to get is you're going to get basically these images. And what's incredible is that AI image models for the past, year and a half have created images that were not super realistic. They were getting close. You had to use post-processing tools to actually create skin that looks really real. You had sometimes objects that would actually not look really exactly what the object that you had. It would invent extra pixels, extrude your objects. Here you can see the quality of these images. So what it did, it put these clothes on that model. And the resolution is really good. This is here in 4K. So if I zoom, this is really high resolution. I asked for kind of like a diffuse, creamy kind of like background. And these images now I can decide to, download them or do something with them. So at this point, one of the things that all marketers we need to do, so if I were to come back up here, you can see that's the image generated. I'm going to delete this one and we're going to continue. And the life of a marketer is, as a designer, you got to create variations. You have to then take this and put it in a story format. Let's put it into 16:9 or 4:3. And that is not fun work. Not,
Right.
not a single human being has told me, Thibault, the thing I love the most is creating variations of a design. We as humans love creating things new, but creating a variation of something that we created new is not fun.
Right.
So what if we put the robots to work on that? Well, so what you can do, you can select that image. And here, what I'm going to do, Greg, is there's a little button here called Remix. And if I click on it, I can decide to make some quick changes. So I can generate variations. We can generate a video. We're going to look at that. But here I'm going to resize an image. And I'm going to say, resize this to 9:16. And I'm going to end up with that image.
Nice.
So here I ask for all these images to be resized by 9:16. And this is perfect because it's using here a Nano Banana Pro. It's also quite intelligent in terms of the resize. It's not just going to crop. It's going to literally put your scene into a 9:16 format. So if I had a chair in the background, if I had other elements, it would literally rearrange my scene to work into a 9:16 format. But let's not stop here. I can introduce ingredients. And that's where it gets really, really, really fun. Let's say I wanted to add this little guy to the campaign. This is about vibe marketing. One thing I'm super excited about, Greg, is I think for the first time in the history really of design, you can express visually a thought without having the technical skills to actually do that. Before that, only the people that knew Photoshop and all these tools could express what they had in their mind. But now with AI, I can just take this guy and I can say, add the dog next to her seated. So if I take this prompt and I select that image and I select another image with shift, then let's do that. Then if I do this, then now these two elements are going to be combined. So I'm going to say, yep, let's do that. It's going to start generating. And here's what we're going to get.
Nice.
I mean, isn't that cool?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so now I could select an image and make some changes. So if I wanted, I could say, hey, have the dog not seated, or put some elements in the background, maybe add a chair, change the background, and we could do that. So in a matter of seconds or maybe a minute at this point, we were able to generate these concepts. I can be with my team jamming on these concepts, or I'm doing production ready stuff. So what I'm going to do, this is the image we generated while we were speaking. So all of that is real. One thing that you can do is you can also create quickly variations. And one of the thing I heard, Greg, I don't know about you, but I heard in customer meetings and when talking to designers, a lot of people just don't want to prompt.
Yeah.
They appreciate the ability to prompt, but it's hard to express with words what you want to do visually.
Right.
And so I think I'm a believer that the prompting is not the end of the road. I think people would rather show you what they want rather than tell you. And we were thinking, what if we could actually allow designers and marketers to move really quickly and jam creatively without having to prompt? So we built this feature called Vary. Midjourney has something similar where maybe you've used it. You can say, very strong, very subtle. You say,
Mm.
I like this image, but I want it to be a little bit different. Give me more. So what we did is you can do that. So if I select that image and I go to generate variation, we will analyze your image and you can do a very subtle or a very strong. When you do very subtle, our AI is going to analyze the image and is going to think like a producer, like, almost like a marketer, and think, what could I change to this scene while still retaining the brand, the composition, the props, but adding a little bit of variety? And if I do a very strong, it's going to introduce more changes. And then here are the variation presets that we'll look at that are seasonal. We're going to look at the time right now. Is Christmas time? What is upcoming? New Year, Christmas. So maybe you want to do something. So what we're trying to do, Greg, is really be contextual and have intelligence. So you don't have to go and prompt and be like, give me something for Christmas. Like, we
Right.
know it's December 3rd. You're a marketer. You're probably thinking about the holiday season, and maybe that could be helpful. And so that's what we're trying to do here. And so if you click on very subtle, it will automatically start doing a generation. And here's what it generated really quickly. And you can say, yeah, more of this, more of that, remove that thing. Here it went with a really nice kind of like shadow in the back with a different color. And I can kind of like continue riffing on that.
Yeah.
So here you can see in this one that we just triggered, it went with this one, with this guy in the back. Probably I wouldn't want to do that because here this is for a piece of cloth and I don't want to
Right.
have another model. But I can also do very strong. And if I do very strong, it's going to introduce, it's going to be a little bit more, I'd say, strong in the variation. Now we have a different scene, a different composition of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now at this point, you can also use what I showed, which is the variation presets that I was showing earlier that are loading here. And once they load and you select something, I'm going to here select warm holiday glow. It will create a holiday vibe to my image. Look at that. Added
Right.
the little, added like some lights in the background. And again, the beauty is that I could come and here and make any changes to this image. If I said, remove how do you call this little thing on the chair? I'm spacing on the name.
Oh, like the table?
Not the,
That thing.
like a
Oh,
garland or like a
yeah,
whatever.
like a wreath, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
remove the thing on the chair.
Right, right.
So we're gonna do that. Like that's the beauty of LLMs. Remove the thing, and so if I say replace the main image, then boom, it's going to replace that image and it will update. Let's actually see. Remove the thing. It's using an LLM. The thing on the chair. I don't need to be perfectly, I could even say it in French. I'm French or any language. That's the beauty of LLMs. Anyway, so it's going to actually change the image and remove the thing on the chair, and we can continue. So let me show you then. I talked about sharing that with your team. You
Yes.
can put comments. And at this point, what we can do is create a resize version. So the thing that is very, very important as a marketer is once you have these designs, you want to create variations for stories, netboard, whatever the formats you want. So what we can do, if you click on that image and if you double click on it, what's going to happen is it's going to open the ad studio that we have. And so if I click here, And that's really something that's awesome is for the people that have used our product in the past, known as Creator-P, we have this advanced editor in the platform. And once you open your element, you can actually add your brand. So here, I realize I updated the project with a different visual, but the idea is the same. I could have, I think I probably, yeah, that's this image. I have my timeline. And here, what I did, Greg, is I added the elements of the design. I've added the text, I've added my logo, I have my brand kit where I've stored my elements. And here at this point, I can do all of these kind of like local changes because AI is not able to animate text for you, put your logo precisely in some place. The models might get there, but for now, you still need to
Right.
be able to get to that level of control. You probably are going to want to localize that and use a particular font that you use. So for that, AI is not there yet, so you're going to have to do it the
Yeah.
old way. But we make that super super simple with the platform. So then when you're done, you can hit apply. You're going to come back into the canvas, the mood board, and from there we're going to be able to continue and basically do the variations of what we call resize. So uh, let me show you. Once you are in the studio, you can actually go into the sizes option, and then you can select different sizes. And when you click, it will basically create the variations for all the different platforms.
Nice. Nice.
So that's really really nice. And then after you're done with this, you probably want to connect that to external data. So what you can do, what a lot of marketers do, Greg, is they want to have the data, such as the strings, like the text, the images, in an external format. So we support the ingestion of a spreadsheet. And then once you've done that, you can basically connect this entire campaign with your external data. So now I have a spreadsheet, and you can see I have this little arrow. I can scroll through. All these images were generated with AI for
Nice.
my clothing brand, and I'm going through. The copy is coming from an external data source, same as the images. So now I can do localization and all that. We also have automatic localization. So it's really, really at this point, we're very close to having our campaigns ready. And so just to finish from here, from the platform, you can then share on Google, on Meta, on the different platforms and different ad networks. You can also download, export your assets into MP4,
Mm.
HTML5. So here it's animated. And once you have your assets, you can keep jamming. And here I can come here and say, give me more variations. And at this point, it's, there's no limit. I wanted to show you quickly another example that we've done for another customer we have, Lint. And so you can see here the source asset that I generated, and I ask with the Vary tool to generate variations.
Nice.
And you can
Nice.
see, look, like it keeps the same style, the same ambiance. You can tell it's the same campaign. You don't need to you don't feel like these images are coming from different campaigns, different sources. Here you can see another example where I just replaced the product in the campaign, and boom, I just generated more. And so after that, you can do the same thing. Maybe add a little bit of animation to your video using AI, using the feature I showed you to add a little
Yeah.
bit of a Christmas effect, and boom. So yeah, I
Nice.
that's really the idea of what you can do with a mood board. We went from an image to full campaign, all the sizes, ready to be launched, and we have existing customers, Greg, that are reporting already up to 10x in creative output increase, also reducing their time and cost of production. And I think with AI, it's probably going to be X soon. So
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
your audience, checks it out and enjoys using it.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Well, yeah, definitely. This definitely qualifies as amazing in my book. Yeah, no, and a couple things I love about it is you're using AI to be able to generate all the variations, give flexibility, and yet there is also that control of making sure that the logo's in the right place and the
Exactly.
right fonts. So it's like it's that balance of both that I think is really powerful. And I mean, just yeah, the sheer flexibility of it seems amazing to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's really something that we've seen with our customers. They understand the power of AI, and I think,
yeah,
AI can be really cool as demos, to wow you, but when you get into the reality of running a team and a production and a pipeline, you have to get to some level of control,
yeah,
consistency that today the models are still not there yet to get to that level of fidelity. But let's
yeah,
be honest, I think it's moving really fast. We think at the brief that it's about integrating the best models that provide that core technology, but it's also about understanding the workflows of the designers, right? If all we're doing is just exposing a prompt, then like these designers are going, okay, I can just do that in Gemini 3 or Chat GPT. But
right,
where we think it's special is when you can have this collaborative canvas. You can join variations. We understand, we think as a marketer, that's really our ambition, is to be for these people using the product, their creative marketing partner, instead of having to go ask ChatGPT, give me a prompt to make the no, no, no. We understand where you want to go with this. You can prompt here, but you can also just click a button. And then you're right, being able to get into a studio where you can still say, no, 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 here's my logo, here's my font, and just overlay that on top. That balance, that threshold of
yeah.
AI versus manual is still going to be very important. And so I think that's also something that's important for especially enterprise mid-market companies.
Yeah, love it. Well, I know we saw a bit. We didn't get a chance to look at everything, but for those that wanna take a further look, what's the best next step for them?
Well, the brief.ai. It's very simple. Sign up. There's, as any good product, there's a free trial. We give you 50 credits to have fun and start generating stuff. There's more in the product that I think you'll want to check out. For instance, one of the feature that our customers love is the Discover feature. So this is a feature that allows you to look at the ads from your competitors. So this is actually quite powerful. Maybe I can show it quickly. Let me do that. Choo, choo, choo. So we have this feature called Discover. So if you leave the mood board and you go into Discover, there's mood boards that we just covered where we were. If you look at competitive intelligence, you can add any of your competitors. And then here, let's say, or let's imagine now you want to see what Deliveroo is doing. You can look at all their ads and you can see, what are the hooks that they use, the CTAs, and then what's their split. And you can save all of these ads into a mood board so that you can use that to jam with your team. So mood board is this kind of infinite canvas for creation of campaigns at the speed of thought, and then Discover is more of like your competitive insight
Mm,
partner. And then what's cool is that every time you see an ad that you like, you can save it into your mood board, and that allows you to you know brainstorm with your team on how you're going to compete against the people you're competing with.
yeah, love it. Yeah, and I love the collaborative aspect of this too. Well, again, I'd like to thank Thibault Imbert, Chief Product Officer at The Brief, for joining the show. You can learn more about Thibault and The Brief by following the links in the show notes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Greg. Bye
Yeah, thank
folks.
you.